Hello there friends, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another video here on my YouTube channel. Today I'm so excited to be taking a look at the brand new Pink and Main foilable kit. This is just like brand new, completely the whole foiling kit to Pink and Main, and I love that they are doing that. So let's talk about what you'll get in this kit. It's and that it does match with the Pink and Main Minc. Or you could use a laminator or one of the other minks or whatnot, but I do recommend the pink mink. So you will get a full roll of cheer foil, and this one is one that is not released before. It's gorgeous. It's holographic with flowers, but it will be released probably later. You'll also get a pack of foilables. These measure 4 inches by 5¼ inches, and then you'll get this big pack of Flower Power foilable kit. And you'll get 2 of each of those big patterns up top, and then 1 of the sentiments and 1 of the sentiment flowers. So I feel like this is a great kit for that price, and they're going to be new each month. And I love that you'll get a full roll of cheer foil with each of your month's memberships, and it's not out there yet. So I think that's fabulous. So I'm going to show you 3 cards that we're going to make today. We're going to turn on our Minc and then hit that to number 3. You could do 2 or 3. I just prefer 3. And that's like pressure and heat and everything. So I'll pull out one of those little foilable panels that measures 4 inches by 5¼ inches. So that's going to measure just slightly smaller than a full A2 size card. I like that because then you can have a border around it. And I'm just bringing in some inks. Now, I want to share with you that these foilable panels are a little bit, well, not a little bit, they're very, very smooth. And so by me putting that ink directly to the ink pad or the panel like I'm doing, it isn't getting a full chance to absorb into the paper. So it is still going to be a little bit wet. So if you decide to do this technique where I did, kind of like an ombre, just using my ink pads right over the top, I highly suggest, I'm kind of wiping it, but I would suggest letting that dry for a bit before you move on to any of the next steps. I did not, and you will see that it doesn't foil perfectly, but I have no doubt that if you just let that completely dry, you wouldn't have an issue. Okay, so I'm pulling out my foil, and this, like I said, this cheer foil is so pretty. It's flowers, they're holographic, and then obviously as you move them around, they kind of grab other colors, so it's like this silver holographic. And to cut my foil, I have found 2 ways to do it that are easiest for me. And one would be this trimmer that I have. And so I'm just starting with the trimmer. And the other way that I do it is with some serrated scissors. The ones that I prefer to use are the Holtz Tonic serrated, the big ones. I have zero luck trying to cut this foil, or any foil for that matter, using just regular scissors like my fussy cutting scissors or whatnot. It just does not work. Serrated ones are the ones that I have found that work the best. All right, so we're going to trim this panel down just a little bit more, or this piece of foil. And like I said, I probably should have let this dry. So some of that color did kind of transfer to the back of that foil, which really didn't prove to be that much of a problem. It was that I don't think it was dry completely. All right, so we'll dust that off because you don't want to have dust particles. It'll keep it from foiling as well. Our Minc machine is ready. It doesn't take hardly any time for that baby to heat up. We'll put that into its protective laminator folder thingy, and then we'll run that through the machine. Now, I do have this obviously sped up double time, so it's going through a lot quicker than it normally would, but it's honestly such a quick process. It's probably like 30 seconds at most. I've decided I'm going to pull out one of these sentiments, the little flower sentiments. So I'm going to peel that away, and you'll see there's a couple of spots where it didn't foil perfectly, but I'm not going to not use this. And then save this piece. You could foil one of those gorgeous colored toner sheets that Pink and Main carries. I love those so much. All right, haven't decided which one, thinking it's going to be just a note, so I'll trim that down. And then we'll have to trim some foil to go along with that. As I did, we'll dust everything off, put it back inside of the little laminator transfer folder, run that through the machine, and then this does foil absolutely perfectly. Now, the next thing you could do would be to use like a circle die on there if you wanted, or like I'm going to do, I'm just going to fussy cut around that flower because it's actually a super easy thing to fussy cut around. But let's let that come through, kind of let it cool down just a bit, and then check it out. It's so pretty. Oh, I could stare at those all day. It's like a rainbow of holographic gorgeousness behind there. All right, so we'll trim that down, fussy cutting, just leaving a small white border all around our flower. And then to adhere that to the front of our card, obviously you could use some foam squares or something like that, but I'm just going to go ahead and use glue. We'll get our card base ready. All of our card bases are going to be the same today. They're going to measure 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored at 4 1/4. So these will be A2 sized cards. I'm going to use some liquid glue to adhere down our panel to our base. And then we'll also glue down our sentiment that just says just a note. Love it. And then once that's on there, I mean, you could embellish, but I'm going to leave it as is. See? A card right out of this kit. Love it. All right, I'm going to pull out the leaf one now. And these measure 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So if you just cut this baby in half at 4 1/4 inches, you're going to have 2 panels. So that's enough for 2 cards. And then I have decided I am going to ink blend on there using my Pink and Main brush. So this is a whole lot better as far as like ink transfer. You'll see that it eventually foils great. And I'm just blending that ink up. I kind of want that to be ombre because I'm obsessed with that right now. But we're just blending that dark green on there. And then we'll clean up our mess. And then we're going to trim down our foil. And this is where I'm showing you that I'm using those Tim Holtz Tonic scissors, because those work fine too. But they're the big ones. So I'll have those linked down below for options. Then we need a sentiment. So I'm pulling out the sentiments, well, after I foil this panel. Again, dusting everything off. And you could use a microfiber cloth, but I like to use my little sweeper. Run that through our foiling machine, and in the process now I'm going to look at what sentiments I might want. So I'm pulling out that panel that has all those black and white sentiments. And then when I decide the ones that I want, I'm going to trim those down. And I got to thinking, because I really wanted my sentiment to be black, but I wanted the rest of it to be foiled. And there you go. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my goodness. Sidetracked. Save that again. I'm going to use a black Copic marker, so a black alcohol marker, just right over the top of our sentiments. And I wanted to see if this would work. I don't know why I'm wiping, just to, I guess, I don't know, help it dry a little bit. Because I was afraid that maybe the Copic marker would cover up the toner and maybe make it so it might not foil as easily, since this paper is so smooth. But you'll see there is zero issue. So keep that in mind. You have options now for coloring out your sentiments or any of your panels. So if you just wanted to use Copic markers or alcohol markers on the back of the panels to color those up, you absolutely could. I just like that there's options now. Now, like I said, that panel itself is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. So that would take up the full front of an A2 size card, but we're going to trim it down. But take a look. See, it works. So just using an alcohol marker over the top, I was able to foil these just fine, and then my sentiments stay black, so they will pop on that background. So I've trimmed down some green cardstock. I'm going to put my sentiments on that because I wanted those to have a little bit of that green background. And then you'll see I took that right out of the center of this piece of cardstock so that I'm not wasting any. And then I'll just put a little glue on the edges, and then we can glue down our panel to the front of our green cardstock. And then we'll use our guillotine trimmer to trim down these 2 sentiments. Pretty easy to line up. And then you could use foam tape or foam squares or whatnot to adhere those to the front of your card. But once again, I'm going to stick with the glue. How cute is that? And it was a super simple card, using only the pieces really, other than cardstock. the green cardstock from our kit. Love it. And then I'll attach that down to a card base using that same liquid glue. And then that's our second card. How cool. Oh, those flowers. I love the holographic foiling. All right, but this might be one of my favorite things to do. Go through your stash of Pink and Main. And I grabbed out this Cherry Blossom stamp set. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to ink that up with some blackout ink, which is good for alcohol marker coloring. And I'm going to stamp that onto some Express It cardstock, stamp that a couple times. And then I'm going to bring in my Olo markers because we are going to color up these cherry blossoms. And I obviously did not do a good job of sharing the colors, and I didn't even zoom in because I was so excited about how this card was probably going to turn out. Bringing in some green ones. I've always loved this stamp set. Definitely one of my favorites. And then I'm going to bring in a darker green, blend that into there. And then, of course, we'll need our matching dies to go along with this. And yes, there is something about those dies being pink that just makes me smile every time I use Pink and Main dies. I love them. So we've got that all die cut out. And now we're deciding on our sentiments. I didn't show you the blending, but it was basically the same, just using some pink, wiping that down. I did it on the sentiment as well. And then we're going to cut some more of our foil, dust everything off. And then we can run our sentiment and our panel through at the same time. That'll work. Lining everything up. And then we'll run that through the machine. It's gorgeous. And then that silver holographic on there, just can't help but smile. I'm telling you. Worked perfectly. All right, now we'll have to bring in a base. It's so pretty. Another white base, and then we'll just use some liquid glue to adhere that down. We're going to push that all the way to our right-hand side. That'll leave a border on the top, bottom, and the right-hand side, or the left-hand side. And then we'll glue down our flower. And our sentiment's going to get tucked underneath there just a tiny bit. I don't think it needs any more embellishment because there's just so much shininess on the outside. And then we'll take those last two flowers and put those on the inside. That's probably why I love bringing in the stamps. And what I've heard and I've seen is that the Pink and Main card kit would go perfectly with the foiling kit as well. So check it out. There's our third card. Yes, I think that's my favorite. Oh, the pink and everything. So let's take a look at all three cards. Here's our first card. Here is our second card. And then our third and final card. And like I said, I'm so happy with how these turned out. I'll have the kit linked down below so that you can go check it out. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.